course, we got more and more coming out with the Chicago Bears head coaching search as the Bears turn the soap opera that is our lives as Bears fans. But now Mike McCarthy has been listed as somebody who could be interested in the Chicago Bears job if he does move on from the Dallas Cowboys. Should the Bears be interested? Why or why not? We'll talk about it all and more. Plus, update on Caleb Williams, Kliff Kingsbury, and we're diving into the mailbag. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into it for today. And so this one comes from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler in regards to Mike McCarthy saying this. Despite his rocky tenure in Dallas, McCarthy would stack up well if parachuting into this candidate pool and provide leadership. He turned 61 in November, but seems to have the energy for the job. He's quite familiar with NFC North football, too. This might not graduate from working theory stage, but enough people have mentioned this scenario to make it worth mentioning here. Still, McCarthy's regular season success and ability to help young quarterbacks flourish could be appealing for Chicago. His contract expires at the end of the season, and the Cowboys haven't committed to retaining him following an injury-riddled 7-9 campaign with one game to go. Perhaps he earns an interview with the Bears and is seen as an option to bring rookie quarterback Caleb Williams along. Now, this was met with a lot of different reactions from Bears fans. Some, they look at Mike McCarthy and they think that he may actually be a really good candidate here for the Chicago Bears. Some look at the Dallas Cowboys and overall the dysfunction of that organ. Could you imagine going from being with the Dallas Cowboys to the Chicago Bears? One dysfunctional franchise to another. At that point, you just got to ask yourself, are you the toxic one in that case? But all jokes aside, like, this is still a franchise that really, kind of lacks direction. Now, here's the thing, though. Mike McCarthy would solve the case of what a lot of Bears fans want to see, and that's a veteran head coach, somebody who's not a first-time head coach. He's also a guy that has had some success when it comes down to it. He hasn't been able to necessarily get over the hump and win a Super Bowl, but he also is somebody that you can't look at his record and deny. He has almost a career 60% win percentage. He actually does. For his career, he's 61% win percentage. He was 61% with the Green Bay Packers. He was 59% with the Dallas Cowboys. So, this is a guy who's won. The least amount of games he's won in his NFL career was 4. And that was in 2018, but he didn't even coach that full season, right? He was released from his contract. You look at a full season, the least amount of games he's ever won is 6. And he's only ever done that once. He's between 10 and 12 wins basically every season of his NFL career. Just is what it is. That's just the facts. Now, my personal aspect of it is, y'all know how I feel. I don't want no ops. And while he has he's been with the Dallas Cowboys since 2020. Let's not overlook the fact that he was with the Green Bay Packers from 2006 until 2018. I'm sorry. Listen, I'm good. I am good. Yes, he won a Super Bowl with the Green Bay Packers in 2010. Listen, and is it a bit petty? Yes. And, outside of my personal reservations for it, if the Bears brought him in for an interview, I'm not necessarily mad at that, right? I think you should interview everybody. I want the Bears to do an extensive search to really see what everybody's bringing to the table, who has the best game plan, who has the best mindset, who's going to go out and have the best vision for this team on both sides of the ball. I want them to find the best person. And sometimes to do that means you got to interview a wide range of candidates. And Mike McCarthy, if he's brought in for an interview, it's not like I'm going to be sitting here screaming at the top of my lungs, why did you even interview him? But, if he's going to get the job, it's going to have to come down to somebody who he's going to have an excellent plan for it. And so, and with the focus reportedly being on development of Caleb Williams, maybe they do want to bring in somebody who's worked with Aaron Rodgers, who's worked with Dak, things like that. But overall, it's not like his positives I don't look at them and I say these are absolutely, nobody else can touch these. I mean, the accolades, yes, right? He did win a Super Bowl, and that has to count for something. in fairness. It has to count for something. But in just my personal view, I'd rather Mike Vrabel as my coaching candidate. And honestly, Brian Flores is becoming one of my favorites. The more and more I look at him, I would love him to coach this team. I don't necessarily know if coaching this for this franchise would be the best for Brian Flores, just because the McCaskey's going to McCaskey, and I don't know if they're going to let Brian Flores and embrace him for who he is. All the controversy that could come with him and things like that. I just don't know if that's going to happen, right? But overall, Mike McCarthy, if he's brought in for an interview. For personal reasons, I really wouldn't want to see him become the next head coach. That's my personal reasons. But, it is what it is when it comes down to it. It's not like they're looking at Chicago Bears Central and be like, hey, is Hayes cool with this? They don't give a shit about me. So, it is what it is when it comes down to that. And we'll see what happens, man. But moving on, of course, as always, the coaching shit with the Bears has always been the thing that's talked about so much. It came out late yesterday as well that Brian Flores is emerging as a real possibility. That's paired with the rumors that Ryan Poles isn't necessarily the biggest advocate for Ben Johnson, right? Over the last couple of days, Caleb Williams has also talked about Kliff Kingsbury and saying things like, well, if Kingsbury was the coach, my voice would be louder, things like that. So, it's the Bears have, and of course, like everything with the Chicago Bears is going to be met with some controversy. We are just not the type of franchise to just operate in a way where we just take care of business and we're able to get the business done and go about it like a normal franchise, right? And so it's all going to be met with his own thing, especially with Kingsbury's, his comments recently, as far as he does want to return as a head coach, but it seems like he's perfectly content staying the offensive coordinator of the Washington Commanders. And the funny thing about all this, right, when you really look at it, Ben Johnson could have interviewed last year. Kliff Kingsbury, somebody we did interview last year. Like, everybody now that we're looking at as a head coaching candidate are damn near people that we had an opportunity to go out and get last year. Even in some cases, people that we actually had in for interviews and decided to go other directions, right? So that's the funny part about all this. And again, it's always going to have its bit of calamity around the Chicago Bears because that's just who this franchise is. We're never going to, well, let me not say, I hope that we're going to be different at some point, but it's always going to be some tomfoolery around the Chicago Bears. But overall, this offseason, we know what the focus needs to be. It needs to be on the Bears going out and finding their head coach and then fixing this offensive line, amongst other things, right? But that's the first domino that's going to fall. And so, where it comes down to it, we know that Caleb understands the importance of the next head coach and what it can mean for him. We understand that the Bears, or at least we hope that the Bears front office understands why this next move is so important in the development of your team overall. This season has hopefully needs to wake everybody in this organization up to what it's truly going to take if you really want to be that winning franchise you talk so much about, if you actually want to go out there and live it. And so if the Bears want to do that, they got a long road ahead of them. And let's hope that they can do it, because if they don't, if they can't, if they fail, it's just going to be another ring of just the common circle with the Chicago Bears. And I tell you what, Ryan Poles can't afford to get this decision wrong in this offseason. He can't afford to get a lot wrong in this offseason, because if Ryan Poles has another offseason like the way last year went, he's not going to be the Bears GM if he's going into this being the Bears GM. So overall, we'll see what happens. And you guys know I'm kind of tired of the coaching talk, but it is right now the only conversation around the Chicago Bears. And nobody's excited about talking about the Bears on the football field because there's not a lot of doubt on what the Bears can be and will be on the football field in the last game they got. The focus right now is things that are going to change the on-the-field results for the Chicago Bears, and the coaching part is one of the largest parts in that. So this coaching search is important for the Bears, whether it's Kliff, whether it's Mike McCarthy, whether it's Brian Flores, whether it's Mike Vrabel, whether it's Pete Carroll, whoever it ends up being, I just hope that they're the right guy. Regardless of my own personal reservations, my own personal thoughts, if you go out there and get the right guy, it's going to be evident. We're going to feel it, right? And things will start feeling different with this franchise. That has to be the most important thing this offseason. Going out there and getting the right guy, you goddamn whores. I'm trying to clean it up a little bit, but I'm still going to curse, man. The Bears front office is a bunch of hoes, man. We need to be better about the way we go about business. Let's be better about the way that we're going out and filling out this roster, filling out this coaching staff, and let's hope that we get and make the right decision. But with that said, it is Friday. That means that the episode is mainly built around your voicemails. Let's go ahead and get into those now. This one's from Fred.
What's up, Hayes? This be your boy Fred, man. Hey, I'm calling, man, to discuss some other things, though. But no, I didn't say that you said they was going to trade DJ. I meant to say you was speaking on the topic of it. But anyway, like I don't know how that's possible though. Like how can somebody that never been like a head coach can make some demands so they ain't even have a job and somehow they want a new gym. Now don't get me wrong. Yeah, Ryan Poles have, you know what I'm saying, made some, bad decisions. You know what I'm saying, as far as him being the GM, So I mean, I get that, a head coach gonna want to deal with a new GM though. But unfortunately Ryan Poles is not going anywhere because he's getting that 1 year to make things right. So as far as like the Bears, like, getting Ben Johnson, I don't even think that, that's going to happen though. And I would prefer us to have, Mike Vrabel, because Mike Vrabel already coming in with experience and he know how to get that culture right. And guys is going to respect him. And he's going to hold players and his coaching staff accountable for not, getting the win or putting players in the right position as well either. So I think we do need a guy like Mike Vrabel. I know a lot of people are going to be like, we don't need another defensive coach, but this is the defensive coach who's coming in with a winning mentality, who's coming in with a disciplined mentality as well, and who's going to get this thing, in the right direction that it needs to be in. Because the McCaskies are the problem. They are the biggest problem. They've been in their own way for years to come. And it's about time for them to step back and, fall back and let, the president and the GM do their job right, Now, if the GM and, the president ain't doing their job, then I get and understand, for the owners to come in. Because Brian Poles, at this point, you have got a mediocre offensive line. You thought this line was going to mount or something, but it didn't. And for you to put an average mediocre line back there with a rookie quarterback, that says a lot about you. That's why a lot of fans was calling for Ryan Poles' job. And I ain't going to lie, I was calling for his job too. It's like his bad was outweighing his good. And then he built his team the wrong way. So it's like you have to build that trenches up, So I don't know, man. Hopefully, maybe Ryan Poles do get it right this time. Maybe we'll see things turn around. I'm just like you. I don't want to hear no talks, none of that. I'm just waiting to see all action, see if they gonna put the action in to use this offseason. Let me know what you think, big dog. Chicago up, they're all the way down.
Right now, I'm going to lean towards the rumors and the talk around Ben Johnson wanting to pick a GM. It's just that. It's just talk. It's just speculation and sensationalism by the media. I'm going to hope that that's the case, right? Because I don't know if a rookie head coach has ever picked a GM or something like that, right? And so when it comes down to it, now, as far as the coaching candidates, like I've said many times before, I think every single candidate has their reasoning, right? The thing that you can look at and you can point at their resume, point at their style, point at their personality, and say, this is one of the reasons they can make a good head coaching candidate here for the Chicago Bears. A lot of those guys have those abilities, and Mike Vrabel as well. Like, he's right along with that list. And here's the thing. I honestly, between the guys that have mainly been mentioned, Kliff Kingsbury, Ben Johnson, Brian Flores, Mike Vrabel, even Pete Carroll in there, right? There are some reservations I have mainly about like a Pete Carroll, but those other four guys, I can look at all those guys and say, okay, this could be a solid pickup. But it's not just about that as well. It's about how you look at how they're going to progress, how you look at how they're going to develop. Or do you trust them to pick the right staff, right? All those things play a part into it as well, and we won't know that until after they're hired. And so that's why, like, my mindset on it right now is I try to just lean towards, regardless of my personal opinions and thoughts on these candidates, the Bears and sitting down and interviewing with these guys and getting a sneak peek of their vision more than what we ever will, just make the right decision and make the right guy. But I think a key part in how you ended this is the McCaskies need to let the football people do their damn job. That's just what it comes down to. Let the people that you hired to make football decisions do their damn job. You do that, things will be okay. Let the football people do football things. You guys are owners. Yes, there are going to be times where ownership needs to step in. There's going to be times where ownership is going to need to whatever, right? But for the most part, the day-to-day, let the football people do their job. Let's hope that that's going to be the case, and let's hope they do their jobs well. All right, let's get into the next voicemail. This one's from Ant.
Yo, what up, fellas? This boy Ant. I know I ain't called in a few weeks. Been trying to take a break from all the Bears news other than just watching the game because I wanted to have a happy holiday, an actual happy holiday. So, I had to put a pause in that because the Bears, make me visibly upset with good reason. But I wanted to chime in on the whole media that's going around with Ryan Poles and if he going to be here and what coach want him here and all this other stuff. I don't like the fact that coaches trying to choose their GMs. That don't typically work out too well for anybody. You know what I'm saying? I thought this comes from the top down, not the bottom up. But that's my opinion on that one. So if a coach want to bring in his own GM, I think somebody should look at that like, you know what I'm saying, with some type of reserve, especially for a first time coach, because that just don't seem right to me. It's like me walking into a Fortune 500 company, be like, hey, I don't want this CEO. I need to bring in my own CEO. Like, it don't typically work out that way. But that's just my thoughts on that. But I don't like all the hate that's going on with Ryan Poles. Not saying that he don't deserve some skepticism and everything like that he's got coming to him, because he made mistakes and everything. But I will say this about Ryan Poles. He's one of those dudes that's rare, because as a grown man, it's hard for a grown man to admit that he made a mistake and then also correct that mistake. It's rare, and it's hard for a lot of grown men to do that. So for him to do that, I commend him for being able to do that with everything he did. I will say this though, because we did the same thing with Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. Like, why are we like berating the team, the person, or whatever you want to call it, the guy for this team, when he's the one that's going to be interviewing the head coaching candidates? Like, let's not demean this guy while other people is looking from the outside in. You know what I'm saying? Because all they hearing is the outside noise. They're not hearing the inside noise. That's the same thing we did with Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. Now we know Caleb Williams is that guy, because, you know what I'm saying, like, it takes a rare guy, a special guy to get that many pass yards, touchdowns, and low interception with how many times he's been hit. We know he's the guy. He's going to be the one to pass 4,000 yards in the season for this team. Let's not, you know what I'm saying, do that with Ryan Poles. We did that with Justin Fields. A lot of people was upset and wrong about that. Let's not do that now. Like, let's calm down. It's not just the national media. There's a lot of other, you know what I'm saying, YouTubers and stuff like that too. But I just want to put my thoughts out there. Let me know what you guys think. But as always, shut town up, bear down. Y'all have a good one.
Yeah, Ryan Poles has definitely done some good. And I'm not with the revisionist history that people try to act like he's done no good. For the people that act like that, I'm not saying everybody acts like that, but there's some legit criticisms. And the people that voice those criticisms have a valid point as well, right? And I like how you compared it to like the Justin thing, but I think overall, like, here's the thing. And this is just regardless of Ryan Poles, whoever it is. Whoever the GM is, when we're going through the coaching search, they get to do their job. They should have an opportunity to do their job. Now, if they fail at that, we need to have an honest evaluation of that. We need to be able to talk about that. We need to be able to move those people then out of those positions. But overall, you know, when it comes down to it, I get it. We're upset. And some people are going to look at it and say, regardless of what he did right in the draft or moving up for this guy, it's all about the results. And I can't knock the people who are saying, look at the results on the field. What of our win percentage? And if that's the thing that they want to point to, like I said, can't knock it at all. But the ultimate decision comes down to the McCaskies and comes down to Kevin Warren. And it seems signs are pointing to right now, Ryan Poles is going to get another shot at it this offseason. And let's hope for the health of the team that he makes the right decision, regardless of if you want Poles to stay on this job or not. If the people who decide his job end up keeping him there, you should hope that he's going to do well in that, because that ultimately is impacting what the product we see on the football field. And we'll see. All right, let's get into this next voicemail. This one's from Darius.
What's going on, y'all? Darius from Dallas, man. I was just doing my little daily Facebook feed scrolling here in between my shifts here at work, and I'm just sitting here looking, and I saw that there's a report that came out. Now, how much we can actually go by this or not, I don't know, but there was a report that came out that said that Ben Johnson is definitely eyeing the Bears position, but he might want Poles out. He might, want to, and I heard that he wants to bring in the assistant GM from the Commanders, because they know each other, they work well with each other, and I'm not really a huge big a fan of Ben Johnson and bringing him in, just from the trauma that I dealt with Nagy. But if we are going to bring him in, I think we do need to consider maybe letting him have his own GM, because I don't know much about the guy from Commanders. I don't know much about him. But here's what I do know. I am tired of us going into this same cycle where we get a GM, but he doesn't have the head coach that he wanted, and he keeps the head coach hired on for like 2 years, and he fires him when he realizes it didn't work. Same thing with the coaches. Coaches get in there, you ain't got the GM that you're working with, and we just go in this complete cycle over and over again, every season, where we got a new GM, but he didn't get to pick his head coach, and then it causes, imbalance. in the organization. And then we turn around and we get, now we're going to get a coach like Ben Johnson. He's already talking about he wants his own GM. What are we going to do? Get Ben Johnson in here. And then 2 years later or a year later, when it's not working out, we say, oh, well, he preferred to have his other GM. And then it's just, I'm tired of going through this. Okay. Kevin Warren, I just ask that you go ahead. If you're going to redo it, man, at this point, just go ahead and redo it all the way. Go ahead and redo it all the way. I appreciate your polls for, a couple things that you did, but let's go ahead and just do it all the way. Let's get a GM get the GM hired first. We need to stop trying to reinvent the wheel here. Get the GM hired first, let him bring in his coach, and then let that coach fill out his staff. Don't do it any other way than that. Don't do it any other way than that. That's the way it's supposed to go. I don't know why we decided to recreate the wheel on this. That's the way it's supposed to go. So, as far as who we bring in at this point, I don't give a fuck. I just won't change. So we need to do this the right way. And we need to make sure that when we do this time, everybody in the organization is on the same page and they believe in one another. But that's all I got, man. Check us up there now.
Legit question here. Just legit question. And I'm leaning on everybody in the chat and Darius to follow up on this. Has a head coach picking their GM ever worked out? Unless it was a head coach that has worked so hard, right, and has had so much success that they had the option to have both roles, but they just didn't want to do both roles, so they got to then pick the GM because basically they got to run both roles, right? I just don't know, and I don't know if that's ever happened for a rookie head coach. I could be wrong. Somebody could say, well, you know what? No, actually it happened here, it happened there. Maybe it did, right? But to me, you want to allow the people to do their jobs. Ben Johnson's job isn't to pick a GM. His job is to pick a great staff and coaching staff. And I think that's what it's going to do. So I think that's what it comes down to. Now I can get with that the GM is supposed to choose the coach, right? And that's what I said before. Whoever the GM is, their job is to choose the coach. The coach's job then is to choose their staff, right? And that's what I would like to see us operate like a normal football franchise. But then again, we have people in positions we don't necessarily trust. That's why this conversation is happening. If we had a GM that the Bears fan base trusted outright, people would be saying, no, what do you mean the coach gets to choose the GM? But because as a totality of the fan base, we don't have faith in Ryan Poles. There's some that do, some that don't. But there's not that universal faith. It makes it seem like, all right, what are we doing here? Is this how we're going to run as an organization? So there's that aspect of it, right? So there's a lot of different things that go into it and machinations and whatever else. But ultimately, like I said, and what I'm going to keep saying, hopefully the Bears just make the right decision, Darius. But thank you for the voicemail. Let's get into this next one. This one's from Chris Evans. Not Captain America, but Chris Evans.
Hey, Bobby C-Dub Hayes. What's going on? It's Chris Evans again. I'm calling right now, actually, the day that Hayes actually dropped the episode talking about Ben Johnson wanting to get Ryan Poles fired. And I heard what he was talking about with the article saying reportedly Ben Johnson's people saying that Ben actually wants, a say. He wants to bring in his own people and he wants to say in, his coaching staff. Totally understandable. Any and every head coach wants to pick who is dealing with their players, as individuals and at the position level. Because as a head coach, not only do you have to be a leader of men, you also have to know your side of the ball and the other side of the ball. Because I don't think a head coach can really just only know offense or defense. You need to understand both. You have to do team meetings instead of travel. You have to do press conferences. Head coach is more than just being a coach. It's more than just telling a wide receiver to, be fast on your brakes, get open, hand fight. It's way different than that. I understand that Ben Johnson wants control in his personnel as far as coaching, but from what you're telling me, and I might have to do my own research, and I will, but I don't understand how him not wanting to beg for this job, which I wouldn't either. I don't beg for no job. And him wanting his own personnel, his own staff, I don't see how that's pushing Ryan Poles out. Now, maybe if it comes to, okay, I need more say in personnel, what players do I need? This draft, we need a free safety. We need some more DNs. We need offensive linemen, most importantly. We may or may not need another running back. I think if you get a good first-round pick, Rojo could honestly carry the brunt of the carries. If we get a first-round pick running back, I don't see how we can't have a 1-2 punch like David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. But I was just calling to say, man, I didn't really understand what you were saying as far as how him wanting his own coaching staff makes him want Ryan Poles fired. Of course, let me know what you think. But from what you're telling me, I don't think that's the case. I just think he wants basic control. But when it comes to making player picks, that's different. Let me know what you think. Chicago up, bear now.
I mean, so the rumors were literally that he wanted to choose the GM, this current assistant GM from the Commanders, Chris. So it wasn't that choosing the staff, because yes, a coach should choose their staff. A GM shouldn't be over there. I mean, they should facilitate and whatever, if they can help open doors, things like that, have conversations, use relationships, and oversee, but a coach should get to pick their staff 100%. But that wasn't what we were talking about in that episode. It was the fact that Ben Johnson actually wanted a different GM, and even that GM was named as the assistant GM of the Washington Commanders, right? I forgot their name. So that was the part of that rumor that I think you may have missed, or maybe I just didn't convey it and communicate it well enough in that episode. I'll put that on my checkboard. I'll do better at that next time, Chris. But yeah, I agree. The head coach should pick their staff. I do think the head coach should be a part of the draft process as well in the evaluation of players. And I think all those things should be. That's how, if a franchise is truly in alignment, meaning that your front office, your coach, your coaching staff, your ownership is all in alignment. That's how normal franchises operate. Unfortunately for us, the Chicago Bears have never been a franchise that operates normally. So that's just what it comes down. All right, let's get into the last voicemail for today. This one's from Gold Blue.
What it do, my boys? It's your boy Gold Blue from the 901-731 area code. I guess I'm just calling a vent. Hell, this might be my most aggressive vent if I got time. But I wanted to chime in on Darius from Dallas when he made a remark about tanking the season. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I think that he said something about tanking the season and then drafting Travis Hunter. And my question to him is, why would you do that? It's crazy as Bears fans how we contradict ourselves, how we talk about what we need throughout the whole season, but then when that shiny new toy come out, we want it. It don't make no sense to me. But, you know, I prefer what we need is what we need, and that's offensive linemen. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't want Travis Hunter on my goddamn team anyway, because the fact that he got a toxic ass old bitch that might get in his head, you know, when they get to playing, when he get to playing and whatnot. But anyway, you know, like with Ryan Poles, another narrative I need him to stop saying is taking athletic offensive linemen. Look here, I done played ball for a minute. Ain't no such thing as athletic linemen. There are athletic defensive linemen, but there are no such thing as athletic linemen, offensive linemen. I want motherfuckers who put their hands on you and you ain't going nowhere. I need those dogs that will push you up the field. We don't need these small school ass people that he keep thinking that's going to become. It's 2-3 out of every 10 maybe that'll work, you know, within 5 years or whatnot. But he needs to stop that narrative. We need a left tackle. We need that left guard. We need that right guard. Whatever it is, we need that center. Whatever it is, we need it on that offensive line. We need dogs. Another thing that I need people to stop saying that Ryan Poles has done a phenomenal job, to be honest with you. I think Chase Claypool opened Pandora's box when he was there. The only reason we on his ass because he didn't proceed as a player. He didn't perform as a player. So I think we just need to do what we need to do this offseason, man. But before my 3 minutes up, man, I was just wanting to tell y'all that, but bear down, boy.
No athletic offensive line. I disagree with that. I think you're looking at athleticism. Like, athleticism isn't universal as far as what you would judge as far as an athlete, as a running back. Wouldn't be the same thing you call athleticism in alignment. So I think it's the context in which he meant it in. But I definitely agree with you that dogs are needed on that O-line. You need dogs on that O-line, and that's what we need. We need people who are just pit bulls on that offensive line. That's what we need, and hopefully we can get that. If we do, it can go a long way in helping this Bears franchise actually correct the process of where this offensive line is. And yeah, and as far as Ryan Poles' job since he's been here, you know, I've talked about that ad nauseum. I know not everybody's going to agree with it. It is what it is, but like I said, ultimately we don't get to make that decision, and we'll see what Kevin Warren, the ownership, decides to do, and then let's just hope for the best results. But offensive linemen, I want dogs in those trenches, pit bulls in those trenches. And let's hope that that's what we can get this offseason. But overall, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Chi Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you guys want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, thanks to you guys. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.